Hi, Zach here from Multi-Panel. Today we're going to show you how easy it is to install the balcony substrate waterproofing system. So let's get into it. This balcony's been set up at 450 centres, but to accommodate for the multi-panel, they've set out battens at 300 centres. We already have our flashings installed, and our first step is to take our first measurements. Here we have a return which needs to be cut out, and our tongue needs to also be cut out so it hits hard up against the flashing. And we're first taking our first measurement, removing 10mm to allow ease of installation. Now that we have our measurements, we're going to go inside and get cutting. Here we are inside. We've got our multi-panel here. We're going to remove this tongue, and we've got our safety protection for cutting, our hearing and our mask. Alright, so let's get started. Now that we have our tongues removed, we're going to mark out and cut out to go around the column. Now that we've cut out for our column, we're going to clean up the corners with a knife. Okay, so we've marked 1200 off the wall, and we're going to chalk a line through to give us a nice straight line throughout the balcony. As you can see, it's quite easy to lift with Lee here. Now we're just going to dry fit the panel without the glue to ensure that it's the right cut. Now that we're happy with our fit, we're going to apply the multi-panel adhesive in a 3mm bead continuously along all the joists and edges. Now that we've run our glue along our joists, we're going to run a 3mm bead along the edge of the panel to go up against the wall. Now that we have our panel glued and in place, we're going to fix it down with some fixing nails at 200 centres. Okay, our next step is to run our next row of sheets, and we need to run a continuous 3mm bead on both sides of the tongue to ensure the integrity of the waterproofing of the panel. So our next step is to lay in the next row of sheets and get a nice tight joint so we see the glue coming out in between. Now that we have our sheet down, we're going to leverage it with a block and chisel, and Lee's going to shoot it in place. Now that our sheet's nailed off, we're going to blade off the excess glue over the joint. Our next step is to install the wall-to-floor junction. We're going to use a 16mm sheet here, and that will run from the bottom to the top of the balustrade. We're going to run a 3mm continuous bead along the bottom and up each stud and along the top plate. Okay, our next step, we've got our studs glued, and we're going to lay our next sheet in and do 200 spacing nails along the top, and then down the wall we're going 300. Now we've waited 3 hours for our multi-panel expanding adhesive to go off. We're now going to seal the joins and the nails with the multi-panel sealant. We're now going to feather over our fixings and our wall-to-floor junction. Now that you've seen how easy it is to install the multi-panel balcony substrate waterproof system, for more information visit multipanel.com.au.